And now that we're recording, I'm just going to let people know that for this morning's class, you will need 2 blocks and a strap, ideally. Not totally necessary, but that will be helpful. And we're going to get going here, and we'll begin lying down on our mats. So go ahead and make your way over to your mat and begin lying down. And as you lie back, if you're more comfortable with something under your head, a pillow or a blanket, feel free to put those there. And let's begin with our feet on the floor. And as you settle in to this lying back position, you might want to close your eyes so that you can draw your awareness more to what you're feeling rather than what you're seeing. And we're going to drop into sensation or feeling right now. So as you lie back, notice what you're feeling, the feeling of your body, the feeling of your body as it contacts the floor beneath you, the feeling of the floor supporting you, the feeling of your body as it relaxes, and as you're feeling the feeling of your body, take a moment to relax or soften the roof of your mouth. Imagine the roof of your mouth or your soft palate becoming more broad, like as if it was expanding or becoming more spacious. Notice how it feels when you do that with the roof of your mouth, soften and broadening it. And then begin to bring your awareness to the feeling of your breathing. Feel your breath moving in and feel your breath emptying out. And as you're just diving into this experience of feeling your breath, just realize that it's only been about a minute since we started this practice, a minute or two. And you're probably feeling very differently than you felt a minute or two.
You don't have a volume.
So notice the difference in how you feel based on taking a little time to just close your eyes and breathe and allow yourself to relax.
Gotta exit full screen. Okay. Go down there. Now you got your volume down.
So let your breath begin to deepen. Let your exhale become even more full and deep. And just notice the calming effect of letting that breath be long, slow, full, and deep. And just make a mental note that this is something you can do anytime, anywhere. Take a little break and just breathe deeply. And in doing so, it changes the way you feel. So as you're breathing deeply, take a moment to check in with how you're doing today, this morning. How you're feeling physically, mentally, and emotionally. Because we don't often do that. We kind of know that life is kind of crazy right now and that it's affecting us probably. But we may not really consciously check in. So let's do that. how are we feeling in these times of global pandemic? You know, I could go on and on. How is that landing in your body, in your mind, in your spirit? And what do you need? What could you focus on this morning or today that could help you feel a little better? Oftentimes, we just need to give ourselves a break. We just need to be kinder with ourselves and give ourselves permission to feel what we feel. Oftentimes, we just need to give ourselves some patience or understanding. We can always offer ourselves more love and compassion. Maybe you need something else, some encouragement, or some trust, or some generosity. What is it that you could focus on for this next hour that would help you feel a little better? Pick one thing and breathe it in. And as you continue breathing deeply, remember that as you breathe out, it's an opportunity to let something go. So maybe it's a grudge or some anger or resentment or frustration that's really been kind of holding you down or burdening you. Just know that when you breathe out, you don't have to hold on to that stuff. You can let it go. Holding on to those things is just not helpful. So the in-breath can be something that nurtures us, and the exhale can be a way of letting things go. And if we only did that for this whole class, we just spent this time breathing in what is something that will help us and breathing out stuff that we need to let go of, that would be a lovely practice. And probably just as beneficial as anything we do with our movement practice. So keep that in mind. So we'll breathe for one more round of breath deeply. And then let's transition to our natural breath rhythm, and we can begin to open our eyes. I'd like you to place your hands on your low ribs. Take a breath in. And with your exhale, with your hands, facilitate the movement of your ribs in and down. Your low ribs, kind of press them in and down on your exhale. Do that again. Breathe in and feel your ribs moving up and apart. As you exhale, knit your ribs down into your belly. Let your hands facilitate that movement. And then you can feel how that movement can be also obtained by engaging your upper abdominals a little bit. So take another breath in. On your next exhale, knitting your ribs, use your upper abdominals too to pull them down and in, and start to lift up your head, neck, and shoulders. And then reach your arms forward. So you're knitting your ribs, you're reaching the arms forward. And then can you place your hands back on the ribs, keep them knitting in as you release your head back and breathe. So again, exhale, knit your ribs down into your belly. You can use your hands to facilitate that. Lift up your head, neck, and shoulders and reach forward. And then bring your hands back to knitting the ribs so you can tell that they're staying knitting as you take your head back and down. Okay, we're gonna, again, exhale, knit the ribs and reach the arms forward. And then can you keep your ribs knitting even as you go back without your hands on your ribs? And then just reach your arms up toward the ceiling as you take a breath. Exhale, knit your ribs, curl up, head, neck, and shoulders, reach your arms forward. Try to keep the ribs knitting in as you release back. Take your head back, reach your arms up. Can you keep your ribs knit even as you reach your arms overhead? Thumbs reaching back toward the floor. Breathe in. Exhale, start to knit your ribs, lift your head, neck, and shoulders, reach your arms forward again. Can you keep your ribs knit even as you take your head back, as you take your arms overhead? And then bring your arms like your elbows wide and slide your arms down alongside your body. Start to knit your ribs as you curl up and reach your arms forward. Keep knitting the ribs as you inhale your arms overhead. And then take your arms, you can bend the elbows or you can just take your arms straight out to your sides, circle them around. You're exhaling here, knit your ribs and curl up, reach forward. Keep the ribs knitting as you inhale your head back, your arms overhead. And then sweep your arms out and around. One more time like this, knitting the ribs as you curl up, reach forward. And then inhale your arms overhead. And then bring them around and down. All right, let's take the right leg and hug it in now and extend the left leg out straight on the floor. Left leg, you can bounce the knee a couple times so that left leg is heavy and down. Hug that right knee in close. And then take the right leg up in the air, grab behind the leg. We'll flex that right foot and point the toes. Do that again, nice big flex, heel up, toes towards you, a nice strong point. And then we'll circle at the ankle in one direction and circle the other way. Okay. We'll just bend that knee and release that foot down. Let's do that on the other leg. Hug the left knee in, extend the right leg out, and just bounce that leg a few times so it's loose and relaxed. And then lift that left leg up in the air, hold behind the thigh, flex your foot, point your toes, circle at the ankle. All right, so now we have that left leg up in the air. I want you to slide your hands up the legs and curl up a little bit. And then lift your other leg off the ground. So you're holding that right leg just a little bit off the floor. And then we're going to switch. Bring the right leg up, lower the left leg down. And then we're going to switch. So each time you're just grabbing the back of the leg as the other leg lowers to the floor. We'll just do a few more of these. Take a nice stretch in the back of the leg that's up in the air and firing up the low belly a little bit to support the leg that's lowering down. Do this a couple more times. And then let's just hug both knees in and curl up, head, neck, and shoulders. And then extend your legs out on an angle and reach your arms overhead and take a breath. And then sweep your arms around, hug your knees in, curl up. And then extend your legs out, reach your arms overhead. Breathe. Again, sweep your arms around, hug your knees in. Reach the legs out, reach the arms out, breathe in. One more time, sweep around, give those legs a hug. Reach the arms out, extend the legs, take a breath. Great. All right, we'll hug the knees in and release the head back. And then let's lower our feet down to the floor and we'll roll to the side. As you come onto your side, we're going to come onto our bottom forearm. And if you're on a hard surface, if you want to put a little something under there to cushion your forearm, you could do so. We're going to stack the knees on a bit of an open angle, so not a right angle, a little more of an open angle. You can place your other hand on your hip. We're going to press down into that lower leg to lift the hips up off the floor. So when we lift up like this bottom side waist is working to lift us up. And could we lift a little bit higher? And then we could take that top arm up in the air. So we're going to take a breath here. And then I want you to take the arm up in the air, start to bring it down. And I want you to kind of slide it underneath you as you turn your chest more towards the floor. And then roll your chest towards your device and reach your arm up and breathe. And then bring that arm down and slide it under as you turn your chest towards the floor. And then rotate to face your device. Inhale and reach up. A couple more times like that. Rolling down and then lifting up. If this is too much, you can just lower your hips down and lift back up again. Otherwise, we're rolling down and reaching up. Let's do that one more time. Rolling down and reaching up. Let's hold here for a breath. And then we're gonna lower down. Nice work. We're gonna swing our legs out in front and just go to the other side. So stacking the knees, try and get this elbow right beneath the shoulder, and rather than sinking down, push down into this arm to create some lift here. Place your other hand on your hip and then push down into that bottom leg to lift your hips up. And maybe you can lift a little higher. Then take the top arm up into the air. So if folding down and coming up is a bit much for you, you could just lower down and come up. Otherwise, we're going to take that top arm, we're going to slide it underneath and turn our chest towards the floor, and then rotate to reach the arm up. Breathe in. Exhale, bring that arm down and through. Inhale, reach the arm up. Again, exhale, bring it down and through. Inhale and reach up. 2 more times. Exhale, reach down and through. Inhale and reach up. Last one here. Reaching that arm down and through, and then reaching the arm up. Could you lift a little higher as you breathe in? And then lower down. Nice job. Let's make our way now to all fours. So as we come onto all fours, knees as wide as hips, hands right beneath shoulders, spine nice and long. You might move your hips a little side to side, move your shoulders a little bit, just loosen up, free yourself up. Take a breath, feeling your body, breathing in what you're offering yourself this morning, what you're connecting with. Take a breath out and just let something go, perhaps. All right. So now we're going to move from the tailbone. I want you to start by taking your tailbone and pointing it down toward the floor, starting to round into your low back, and then let that rounding continue through your low back, through your mid back, through your upper back, push into your hands, drop your head. And then from your tailbone, start to take it back towards the wall behind you, start to tip it up, and let that extension, that arching flow through your spine until you gaze forward and breathe in. And again, from your tailbone, send it back and down and let that rounding flow all the way through your spine until your head drops as you exhale. And then from your tailbone, send it back, curl it up, and let that arching extend all through your spine as you breathe in. One more time like that. Moving from your tailbone, round it down, round it all through the spine, breathe out. From your tail, send it back, send it up, arch all through your spine. Nice, and then come to flat back. Now from here, I want you to take one forearm to the floor and then the other forearm to the floor, and then come back onto your hand and back onto your hand. Start with your other arm. Forearm comes down, first hand, second hand. So we can do this with our hands and our knees right beneath us, or to make it a little more challenging, take your knees a little bit further back, and then come down, forearm, forearm, hand, hand. Start with the other arm, forearm, forearm, hand, hand. You could make it a little more challenging, take your knees a little further behind you, and then go forearm, forearm, hand, hand. Start the other side, forearm, forearm, hand, hand. You might decide to bring the knees closer. You might decide to take them further back. You could even come into a full plank and go forearm, forearm, hand, hand, forearm, forearm, hand, hand. Let's do it one more time. You decide. Knees down, knees up, knees under you, wherever you want them. Forearm, forearm, hand, hand. So we're just bearing weight, doing a little impact to support our bones. All right, so let's get the knees, if your knees are right beneath you, take them a little bit behind. And then we're going to start to take the hips back and lower the head toward the floor. Now your hands could be as wide as your shoulders. If you feel like you'd like a little more space, separate your hands and lower your head down, so that you start to feel potentially a nice stretch in the shoulders. If it's too much, take your arms wider. Do what feels okay in your shoulders, but let your forehead find the floor and breathe. So it's not child's pose. Your hips are up. You're not sitting back on your heels, and you're stretching across the chest, across the upper back as you breathe in and out. With your next inhale, lift your head up. Now let's take child's pose. So now we're going to sit back on our heels, and you might bring your arms alongside your body. You might use your arms to support your head. Breathe in and out here. And then with your next inhale, lift your head up, reach your arms way out in front, and make your way to downward facing dog. As you're here, ground through your hands. Very consciously feel your hands connected to the floor. Press into your fingers, your knuckles, your thumbs. Draw your hips way up and back, and let your neck release by moving your head around a little bit. Try to release any tension in the neck here by letting the weight of the head hang and kind of shaking your head. No, yes, maybe so. Let's bend the knee and press a heel down, and bend that knee and press the other heel down. Can you get the heel all the way to the floor or close to the floor as you're alternating? And then bend both knees a bit. Take the hips maybe a little further up and back. Take a deep breath in and out. And then let's walk our hands back towards our feet, dropping our heels down, ending up folded over bent knees. Loose in the arms and the head, grounded through the feet. Feel your feet, see your feet, feel that connection to the ground. Take a deep breath into your upper back. Begin to let that breath empty out, and then draw your belly in and begin to roll yourself up. Take your time rolling up. Try to feel your spine stacking one vertebra on top of the other. Eventually, let your head come up. And then when you're ready, you can go and get your strap. Anything that you could pull on a tie, a long towel, something that you can just pull apart. So let's stand with our feet beneath us, and we'll take our strap, and your hands wider than your hips. We're going to just pull the strap apart. So let's ground through the feet and stand tall. Kind of evaluate your posture here as you're pulling, you're tugging the strap apart. So your shoulders begin to do some work as you're thinking about grounding down and standing tall. All right, let's take the arms forward, continuing to pull the strap apart. And then let's take the arms up overhead. You can widen your grip if that'd be more comfortable. So notice as you took your arms overhead, if you pushed your ribs forward or arched your back. And just like we did at the beginning of class and we took our arms overhead, can you knit the ribs down into your belly a bit here? So the movement is from your arms, your shoulders, and not from the movement of your spine. All right, so your arms are overhead, but your spine is neutral. And you're pulling the strap apart still. So you're getting some work in the muscles in the shoulders here. Now we're going to take the strap and let's just bring it right down in front of the chin. Pulling it apart and pulling the elbows wide as well. So for some people, working here might be best for your shoulders. Otherwise, we're going to take it overhead. And if it works for the shoulders, we're going to take it behind the head. So when you take it behind the head, notice if in doing so you pushed your head forward. And see if you can take it behind your head, but keep your head upright. Keep your ears over your shoulders. So we're still pulling on that strap. Now, I want you to take one arm and pull it out to the side. You might need to widen your grip to straighten that arm. So you're pulling out with this arm to the side, and it's kind of pulling on the hand on the other side. And then let's do that on the other side. pull it out to the side. We're pulling with this straight arm, pulling that other arm in a little bit. If you're working in front of the chin, you can do the same thing. So we're going to pull to the side, and we're going to pull to the side. So you're really pulling that strap apart. Like, it's a good thing it's not a wimpy thing, because it would break, because you're pulling it strongly to one side and you're pulling it strongly to the other side. All right, let's take it up again. Pulling it apart, let's bring it forward, and let's give the arms a little break as we lower the arms down. You can release your grip a little bit, shake your fingers out, and just release any muscular tension that you may have built up from that experience. And then we're going to do the same thing. So it's really wide grip. We're going to pull it apart. We're going to take it up as we take the arms overhead. Check to see that you're knitting your ribs, you're not arching your back. And then option to come in front again and pull side to side as we were just doing, or option to go behind the head and pull side to side, or we can keep pulling it apart and go all the way back and down. And then pull it up. Try not to push your ribs forward as you do this. Inhale your arms overhead. Take it behind without pushing the ribs forward, keeping the ribs knit. Take it behind and down. Pull on it as you bring it back up and take it overhead. Breath in. One more time. Behind and all the way back and down. Your grip can be wide here. Try to do both hands at once, not one arm and then the other. Bring it back up. Take it overhead. Breathe in. Bring your arms forward. And as you lower it down, you can let go of the pulling on the strap, and you can set the strap off to the side. All right. Let's grab our 2 blocks now, and we're going to make our way to the front of our mat. And I want you to just put your blocks towards the front of your mat on either side. Standing towards the front of the mat, let's root down through the feet to stand nice and tall. Feel our connection to the ground consciously. And then we'll reach the arms out, broaden across the chest and back. As we ground down, let's reach the arms up and overhead, lengthening, lifting here. And then we'll swan dive forward, softening the knees as we fold over. And we can grab onto our blocks here. So the blocks just bring the floor a little closer. So if you have a lot of mobility in your hamstrings and you want to just have your hands on the floor here, that's fine. If you want to have a little greater ease, you might enjoy having that elevated distance of the blocks. So let's take a breath into the upper back. So we're rounding the spine on the in-breath. And then as we exhale, I want you to extend your heart forward. Can you arch right between the shoulder blades? And then inhale and breathe into that space between the shoulder blades as you round. And then exhale and extend right between the shoulder blades. Lengthen, arch the back there. One more time. Inhale, round into the upper back. And exhale and extend through the upper back. Great. All right, separate your feet as wide as your hips. And take a step back with the foot that's not close to the camera. So the leg that's not closest to your device, step back with that foot. And have your feet hip distance apart. You can bring the blocks closer to right underneath your shoulders here. So the back heel is lifted and you're in a low lunge. Let's inhale and straighten the front leg. And exhale and bend the front knee, lowering the hips. Inhale and straighten the front leg. Exhale and bend the front knee, lowering the hips. One more time. Inhale and straighten the front leg. Exhale and bend. All right. So the front leg with the bent knee, take that arm out to the side. And then take that arm and reach it up toward the ceiling. Twisting here. You can press down into the block or the floor as you reach up. Take a breath. And then bring that hand back down. All right, we're going to step the back foot in, feet hip distance apart, and take a big step back with the other foot into a deep lunge. Back heel is up, hips are dropped down. Let's try inhaling and straightening the front leg. Exhaling and bending the front knee, lowering the hips. Inhaling and straightening the front leg. Exhaling and bending the front knee, One more time. Inhale to straighten. It may not get all the way straight. That's fine. Exhale and bend that knee. Now, the hand that's the same as your front bent knee, take that arm out to the side, and then inhale that arm up toward the sky, turning your chest towards away from the camera. Breathe in, reach up, and then exhale, bring that arm down. All right, let's step the blocks out to the side, bring the hands to the floor, and step back to downward facing dog. Take a breath here. Exhale and lower to straight arm plank. Knowing that we always have the option to be on our knees when we're in plank. So knees could be down or knees could be up. Nice and long, heels pressing back, long through the crown of the head. Take a breath. Let's try a little bend in the elbows. You can be on your knees here. Elbows pointing back rather than winging out. We'll take a breath here. And then we could drop to knees. We're going to lower our chest all the way down into the mat, into prone mountain. Maybe sliding the heels of the hands back a little bit as the chest sinks down. Rotating the chin in so the nose just hovers right above the mat. Long from toes to crown. Let's inhale up to baby cobra. And exhale back down. So pulling the heart forward as we inhale again to baby cobra. We'll lift our hands up, lift our elbows up, hug the elbows in a bit as we pull the heart forward. And then exhale, hands and chest releasing down. This time, hands stay down. We'll inhale up to baby cobra and perhaps come up a little higher to cobra. And then exhale, back down. Let's push up to knees, curl the toes under and lift the knees and lift the hips up and back to downward facing dog. Breathing in and out. All right, as we ground through the hands now, I want you to take the leg that's further from the camera up in the air, and then bend that knee, hug the knee up and in, and step that foot through to lunge. So you're getting into a low lunge here again, letting the hips drop down. Now bring your hands onto that front knee. Stay in your low lunge. Then bring your hands to heart. Stay in this low lunge. On this front leg, think about the knee and shin going forward and that same sitting bone drawing back. Take a breath here. And as you exhale, twist away from the camera towards that bent knee leg. And maybe take your elbow to the outside of that knee to twist even further. Take a breath here. And exhale and unwind. Bring your hands to the floor and step back to downward facing dog. Take a breath here, grounding through your hands, and let your breath go. Take your other leg up in the air, the leg closest to the camera, and then bend the knee, hug that knee in, look forward and step through to lunge. You can always drop onto your back knee and then step through. Make your way to your low lunge here, letting your hips lower down. And then bring your hands onto that front knee, but stay in a low lunge. And then bring your hands to heart. Take a breath here. With your exhale, twist towards that front knee side. And maybe take your elbow to the outside of that knee to deepen that twist. Take a breath here. Exhale and unwind. Bring your hands to the floor. Step back to downward facing dog. Breathe in and out here. Exhale to straight arm plank. Knees could be up, knees could be down. Take a breath here. Exhale, bend your elbows a bit. Take a breath here. Exhale, lower yourself down. Prone mountain. Inhale up to baby cobra or cobra. And exhale back down. Make your way up and back to downward facing dog. Breathing in and out. Look a little forward. Walk your feet up toward your hands. Plant your feet beneath. Grab your blocks. Take a big breath into your upper back. Exhale, extend your heart forward. Now, separate your feet as wide as your hips. And then take a big step back with the leg that's further away from the camera. So the front leg is closer to your camera. The leg that's further from your computer or your device is back. You're in this low lunge again. And now you can bring the blocks more underneath your shoulders. We're going to bring that back foot in so that you can plant your heel down. And we're going to try and more or less straighten the front leg, however much you can. So on this front leg, can you pull that hip back a little bit? Can you pull this front hip back as you plant your back heel down? And could you move towards more of a flat back? So if we were to reach towards the floor, we might round our back. But could we, with these blocks supporting us, bring our spine a little more long, more neutral? So now can you think about pushing down into your feet and start to bring your body upright? So come upright here. And so your shoulders are facing the short end of your mat. So we're upright now. Let's put our hands on our hips and maybe even lift up a bit more. Lift your heart, extend your spine, get a little stretch in the front of that back leg, that back hip. Breathe in, and then start to hinge forward toward your flat back. Can you come to that neutral spine, parallel to the floor? Press into your feet and legs again and bring yourself upright. Breathe in, and even like lift your heart a little bit. Draw your elbows back and down. And then come upright, and again, hinge forward toward a flat back. You can soften or bend that front knee a bit here. Can you pull that front hip back a little bit? Yeah. And then press down into the front foot, back foot. Rise up, breathe in, arch back a little bit with that in breath. And then one more time, we're going to hinge forward to our flat back. And then again, we're going to reach down for the blocks. So our spine is long here. Can you pull this front hip back a little bit to lengthen out through the crown of your head? Take a breath here. As we exhale, we're going to let the back round. The low back, the mid back, the upper back. Your front knee can soften a bit here. Just let your head drop. And then as we inhale, let's come back up to flat back. All right, so this front hip is pulling back. We're going to take the hand that's closest to the camera, the front leg arm, reach it out to the side towards your device. And then we're going to open into a twist. So we press down on the block as we reach up with the arm. Can you pull that front hip back? Take a breath here as you reach up. And then exhale that arm all the way down. All right, we're going to step the back foot in. We're going to step the front foot back. So big step back into that sort of lunge distance here, but we can have the heel down on the back leg. And that foot is deeply angled towards the front corner of your mat. So now, can you straighten the front leg a bit? Can you pull that front leg hip back and kind of find a nice long neutral spine? Get the blocks right under your shoulders. So now can you press into your feet to bring yourself upright? Chest turned towards the front line of your mat. Let's place our hands on our hips. We're going to straighten up as we breathe in, and we're even going to lift the heart a little bit and start to extend or arch back a little bit. And then we'll come upright and start to hinge forward. As you hinge forward to your flat back, that front knee can soften or bend a little bit. Come to flat back, and then again, push down to rise up. As you come up, you can come all the way up and even arch back a little bit. Elbows draw back, heart lifts up with that in-breath. And then the exhale brings us Forward again, hinging forward to our flat back, lengthening through the crown of the head. One more time, pressing down to come up. Lifting up, lifting the heart, draw the elbows back, breathe in. And again, hinging forward to your flat back. And once you're there, let your hands come down to your blocks. Keep your spine long here. Can you draw that front hip back a little bit? Then the arm that's away from the camera, the front leg arm reaches out to the side, parallel to the floor. And then that arm's going to reach up toward the ceiling. Pressing down to lift up here. Draw that front hip back. Take a breath. And then bring that arm back down. Nice job. Let's step the back foot in. Feet hip distance. Fold it over, then ease. Take a breath into your upper back. Let the breath go. And again, roll yourself up. Until you come all the way up. Nice. And then turn and take a wide stance. So as we come into a wide stance, you've got your blocks on one side of your mat. We're going to turn the back foot in, turn the front foot out on the side where the blocks are. Okay. And then we'll bend the front knee and straighten it. And bend the front knee and straighten it. Let's keep this back foot pressing down as the front knee bends and straightens. Let's bend that front knee now and lift that front heel a little bit off the floor. And with the heel lifted, pull it back towards your midline. So the heel is pulling back, so you create some action in the underline of the leg and into the pelvic floor. Take a breath. And then let that heel come back down. All right. From your center now, let's tip the hips over. And this bottom arm can come onto the thigh. Or is there a block there that you could find? And you might bring your hand on the block. Or you can rest the arm on your leg. And then take your other arm forward and lift it up here. Take a breath. And let it go. Keep your arm here. You can keep the front knee bent now, or you could try straightening that front leg into triangle. And take a breath in and out here. Great. We're going to, either with bent knee or straight leg now, we're going to reach up, press into the legs, and rise up. Bring the block along. We're going to go to the other side. Turn the feet forward. Turn that back foot in. Turn the other foot out. And just set that block down behind the front foot. All right, hands on hips. Pressing the outer back foot down, we're going to bend the front knee and straighten it. Bend that front knee and straighten it. One more time. Bend that front knee and straighten. This time we're going to bend the front knee, and then on that front foot, let's try lifting the heel just a teeny bit and pulling that heel back toward the midline. Can you feel how that just fires up the inner line of the leg? Keep pulling back through the heel for one more breath, and then let the heel go down. And then from your center, tip your hips over. Again, this forearm could come on this leg, or it could reach back for the block, dropping it a little deeper, perhaps, into this side angle pose. The other arm can come forward and reach up. We'll breathe in and out here. And we could stay here with the knee bent, or we could try straightening that leg into triangle. If your hand was on your thigh, you can transfer it to your shin. Breathe in and out here. And then push down into your feet and legs and bring yourself up. You can bring the block along. All right, turn your feet in, walk your feet together. We're going to take the block and we're going to sit on it. So we're going to turn it the long way and put it on your mat. And we're going to just sit ourselves on the block here so that our hips are a little elevated. And so that we can feel our sitting bones. So rock a little forward and back, maybe a little side to side, and feel your sitting bones. I find it's usually pretty easy for us to feel them when we're sitting on a block. So then imagine that you have roots growing down from your sitting bones, down into the block. And maybe even imagine those roots continuing to sink down deeper, deeper, deeper into the ground beneath you. So we really establish the solid foundation. And then we let that help us to find the line of our spine nice and upright. Connect with this line of your spine. Really feel that central line of your body. We're going to twist around that line. So let's take the right hand behind, fingertips behind, the left arm across. So we feel the line of the spine. We're not going to veer off of that line. We're going to root down and feel the line of the spine and breathe in. And then we're going to spiral around to the right here. So letting the ribs, the chest, and the shoulders spiral around the line of the spine in that direction. And we may find that we've rolled the hip back towards the wall behind. Can you take your hip bone now and draw it back towards your midline so that your navel is facing more forward? And then let the upper body twist the other way, back around to the right. There's kind of action and resistance. The pelvis is staying forward as the upper body is twisting the other way. And then we're going to breathe deeply. We can breathe in what we're offering ourselves this morning. And we can breathe out all those things that burden us, that make heaviness in our bodies, in our lives. So use your breath here. A couple more rounds of breath. Breathing in what nurtures you. Breathing out what you're ready to release or let go of. And then we can release back around. Again, feel your foundation root down through your sitting bones to rise up nice and tall. We'll take the left hand behind. We'll take the right arm across. Feel the line of your spine as you breathe in. And then start to spiral around towards that back arm. Ribs, chest, shoulders, head and neck spiraling around that line. That left hip bone probably rolled back. Can you bring that left hip bone back towards your midline? And then twist your upper body the other way. And then invite your breath. Nice deep breathing in and out. What do you want to breathe in? And what are you ready to let go? Breathe it out. You can blow it out. You can ha it out, sigh it out. One more deep round of breath. And then unwind yourself. We'll make our way off of our block. We'll make our way down onto our backs. And before we put anything under our heads, if you like to put something under our head, for now, just with your head on the ground, let's set up for bridge pose. So bring your feet on the floor, heels fairly close to your bum, feet hip distance apart. Center your head. And start by just lifting your tailbone off the floor, and then lifting your sacrum, and then lifting your lower vertebrae just to the point where you lift up and you feel your low ribs on the floor. Take a breath, and then roll that lower vertebrae, roll them out, lower onto your sacrum, and feel your tail rolling out as if you had a tail, just relaxing into the floor. Do that again. Lift your tail bone, lift your sacrum, roll up those lower lumbar vertebrae. Just lift up to the point where your low ribs attach. Take a breath. And then release those lower vertebrae. Slowly, gradually. Release your sacrum. And let your tail roll out. Relax and take a breath. One more time, we're going to lift the tail, lift the sacrum, lift those lower vertebrae. When you get to the place where your ribs are, then continue peeling up little by little, lifting those hips a little bit more, lifting until the point where you bring your weight more up onto your shoulders. As you come up here, think about your knees and shins pressing forward to lift your hips up, creating space in the front of the legs, in front of the hips. Take a breath here. And then slowly, gradually release down. Just feel one vertebra and the next, and the next, and the next. Just slow, gradual releasing down. Unfurling, articulating. Finishing up as we did before with the sacrum coming down and the tail rolling out, everything relaxing as you breathe. I would just do that one more time. Tailbone, sacrum, lower vertebrae, mid vertebrae, coming all the way up onto your shoulders, knees and shins forward, hips up nice and high. Breathe at the top. And then rolling down. Once you're all the way down, go ahead and hug your knees in. Sway a little bit. Do what feels nice for the next few moments. You might take your knees apart. You might stretch your legs up. You might sway. You might twist. What else? What would you like to do for this final movement, this final time, before we transition to Shavasana? And then when you feel ready, go ahead and take a few moments to set yourself up to be as comfortable as possible. So maybe that means putting on a layer. Maybe that means sliding something under your head or under your knees. What could you offer yourself so that you will be as comfortable as possible? Do that. Lie back. It feels right to close your eyes. Go ahead and let your eyes close. So we're going to take this time just for ourselves to let the body release all the built up tension that we hold within us. You know, muscular tension can serve us very well when we need to engage a muscle to do an action or to protect ourselves from injury or something. You know, it's great. But so often our muscles stay engaged long after they need to be. And we develop these habits of tension in the body. So this practice of trying to let that tension go can be so useful, especially in stressful times. So we take this time and we invite the body to relax. We give it the time, the space, and the permission to release and let go. To soften, to open. We let the muscles smooth or melt, unclench. Feel your body relaxing. Just allow it to release, unfold. Body relaxes. Shoulders resting heavily back. The palms of the hands soften. The weight of the head releases back. And all the facial muscles now can soften and smooth and release. Letting ourselves rest and ease here. So often we find that we're constantly trying to change things, to fix things. And sometimes there's benefit in just letting things be as they are. Just allowing things to unfold. And as you continue lying back, or you could be transitioning out, I'm going to share a reading with you from Mark Nepo called To Witness and Hold. He says, we have been battered by modern times into obsessive problem solvers. But as life pares us down into only what is essential, it becomes clear that the deepest sufferings of heart and spirit cannot be solved, only witnessed and held. I have struggled with this constantly. Just recently, after being away for 2 weeks, I returned to a tender partner who lovingly uttered, "I really missed you." Instantly, I reacted by scanning for ways to solve the feeling. I could limit my travel or call more often. instantly tried to change my patterns of being away from the relationship rather than just feel the poignancy of being loved enough to be missed. Frequently, this reflex to solve, rescue, and fix removes us from the tenderness at hand. For often, intimacy arises not from any attempt to take the pain away, but from a living through together, not from a working out, but from a being with. Trust and closeness deepen from holding and being held, both emotionally and physically. I'm learning, pain by pain and tension by tension, that after all my strategies fail, the strength of love waits in receiving and not negotiating, in accepting each other and not problem solving each other, in listening and affirming each other, not trying to change or fix those we love. So maybe you're enjoying lying back and you can continue to do so. Maybe you can begin to come out of your relaxation. When you're done with your practice, I encourage you to take a few moments, quiet reflection, maybe a few moments to appreciate a few things in your life for which you're grateful. So grateful for this practice and for the wisdom that flows from you and from teachers that we have all around us. Peace and love. Nice. And you can come and ask questions, say hello or goodbye. You can just head off on your day, whatever's best for you.